I'm not saying I'm proud of what I did. I'm not saying the guilt doesn't crawl up my spine at night. But I refuse to act, as I just stand there while people with badges bought at a costume shop tried to erase me. I wasn't made to kneel, grin, and vanish quietly. Survival has a voice, and mine was already clearing its throat. Welcome to my channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe for your premium HOA drama fix. It all started when Karen decided our HOA dues weren't just fees, they were a ransom. In 3 months, she cranked them from $150 to a brutal $1,000, grinning like she was performing charity work. She blamed maintenance, safety, and vague upgrades nobody could see, touch, or verify. The only thing anyone noticed was her new squad of so-called HOA enforcers, grown adults strutting through the streets in surplus uniforms, itchy fingers on triggers. They hung around mailboxes, questioned visitors, flashed firearms near trash bins, all under the guise of community protection. I tried patience. I tried meetings. I tried reasoning. Karen tried intimidation. Notices appeared on doors. Fines multiplied overnight. Neighbors stopped looking me in the eye. That silence bothered me more than the threats. So I did what any disciplined person does when nonsense starts wearing a uniform. I started digging. I pulled records, budgets, amendments, old votes, bank statements, things never meant to be compared side by side. Numbers don't lie, but they whisper when someone hopes no one is listening. And those whispers grew louder. Transfers didn't match projects. Payments landed in accounts unrelated to landscaping or repairs. Expenses were duplicated, rounded, padded, and rerouted. Karen wasn't managing money, she was siphoning it slowly, confidently, sloppily. I copied everything, backed it up twice, and kept digging deeper. Once you see rot, you check the beams holding the house. By the time dawn peeked through my blinds, I knew one thing. Karen hadn't just overstepped. She had built her throne on quicksand, and I was standing close enough to feel it shift. That realization sharpened my focus and every step ahead. Before we dive deeper, drop a comment telling us where you're watching from, city or country. We're curious how far this story reaches. As a retired naval officer, I understood power like storms understand coastlines. It must be respected, or it destroys everything nearby. Authority without restraint always rots, and Karen's smile carried that exact stench. With the files I gathered, I could feel the case tightening like a noose. Every altered ledger, ghost vendor, and inflated invoice formed a story even a blind judge could read. I spoke quietly to neighbors, door to door, careful not to spook them. They whispered back, eyes darting, hands shaking. They begged me to stop. Said Karen ruined lives, drained savings, weaponized fines until families fled overnight. Fear had become her most effective bylaw. I listened, recorded statements, promised anonymity, even though I knew promises only go so far when bullies sense resistance. The next HOA meeting felt like a public execution. Karen arrived, sharp, jewelry gleaming, flanked by her uniform toys. When the floor opened, I stood, laid the paperwork down, and spoke calmly. I explained the math, explained the transfers, showed how dues became personal revenue. Gasps spread through the room. Karen laughed first, then froze when the pages circulated. Silence fell, heavy and dangerous. She tried denial, deflection, insults. None of it stuck. The facts were stubborn and ugly. I told her I'd see my attorney in the morning. No raised voice, no threats, just a promise of accountability. Karen smiled slowly, confident, like she already bought the ending. When the meeting ended, I noticed her hired enforcers. Not anger, they were calculating. Hands hovered near belts, eyes memorizing my walk, posture, and pace. That's when training took over. I changed routes home, varied my timing, and secured backups off-site. I wasn't paranoid, I was prepared. That night, I cleaned the kitchen, double-checked locks, and reviewed exit plans I hoped never to use. Courage isn't loud. Sometimes it's just refusing to sleepwalk into danger while pretending everything's fine. Tomorrow promised consequences. Sleep barely arrived before a sharp noise yanked me awake. Something moved downstairs, slow, deliberate. Not a mistake. Not an accident. Years of discipline kicked in immediately. I stayed perfectly still, listening. Cabinets opened. Drawers slid. These weren't burglars fumbling around. They knew exactly where everything was. Then their voices became clear. One whispered about finding the documents. The other replied that Karen wanted everything erased tonight. A pause. Then the words that froze my blood. If they left me alive, I'd just dig up more proof. So it's better if I don't wake up tomorrow. That's when I realized they weren't here to scare me. They were here to finish me. I quietly called emergency services and left the line open. Then I acted fast. I grabbed 2 pillows, stacked them under my blanket, and shaped them like a human body. I smoothed the sheet over them carefully so it looked exactly like someone lying on their side. From the doorway, it was convincing. Anyone glancing in would think I was still in bed. I didn't stay there. I moved into the corner of the room, out of sight, weapon ready, controlling every breath. Heavy footsteps climbed the stairs. The door creaked open. I stayed silent. 2 gunshots ripped into the bed, shredding pillows and mattress foam. Feathers exploded into the air. That's when they realized the truth. One shouted that it wasn't me, but it was too late. One raised his weapon toward my position, but I fired first, dropping him hard. He screamed but kept moving, so I made sure he couldn't stand again. The second panicked, firing wildly into the walls. I moved precisely, stopping him before he could recover. Once both threats were neutralized, I secured the weapons, swept the house quickly, and then went downstairs. I sat on the couch, breathing slowly, waiting calmly for the police. Minutes later, sirens cut through the night. Officers arrived in force, lights washing the house in red and blue, as they cleared every room with practiced precision. I complied fully, hands visible, voice steady. Innocence doesn't need theatrics. Paramedics followed, tending to the men Karen sent, sealing wounds they never expected to earn. That night, I was taken in for questioning, not in cuffs of guilt, but through standard procedure, and I understood that. At the station, the story unraveled quickly. The 2 men cracked separately, adrenaline and fear leaking out. They confessed everything. Karen had hired them, paying through shell accounts disguised as security expenses. Their original mission, retrieve documents and destroy backups, pressed harder. Their timeline slipped, messages surfaced, intentions became clear. Fear had made them careless. Digital trails don't forget. Karen tried to rewrite the story. She claimed she never ordered violence, only recovery of property, only protection of HOA assets. That lie collapsed under timestamps, recorded calls, and the testimony of the very people she trusted to do her dirty work. The financial investigation reopened immediately. Now, with warrants, subpoenas, and eyes that couldn't be swayed by jewelry or volume. By morning, board members who had backed her either resigned or lawyered up. Accounts were frozen. Properties were searched. The neighborhood woke to news vans where her patrols once prowled. People who wouldn't speak yesterday suddenly remembered everything. Silence shattered like glass under pressure. Charges piled up fast. Conspiracy, fraud, money laundering, attempted murder, all tied directly to her instructions and payments. The enforcers faced prison. Karen faced something worse, exposure. Every document I collected became public record. Every threat she made became evidence. The dues, the fear, the control, all laid bare. The end. Please like and subscribe for more HOA showdowns. Do you think she got what she deserved? Comment below.